Kindness is one of the most admirable traits a person can have, but it should always be intentional rather than automatic. Too often, people are taught to be kind without considering who they are being kind to or whether that kindness is truly deserved. While kindness has the power to uplift others and create positive relationships, it also has the potential to be misused and taken for granted when given without thought. There is a difference between being genuinely kind and being overly accommodating to the point where people begin to see kindness as an expectation rather than a choice. When kindness is given without boundaries, it can become a tool for others to manipulate, and instead of bringing happiness, it can lead to exhaustion, frustration, and a loss of self-worth. Being kind does not mean allowing others to take advantage of your good nature. It means choosing when and where to offer kindness in a way that benefits both you and the person receiving it. Many people struggle with the idea that kindness should be intentional because they associate kindness with always being available, helpful, and forgiving. While these are positive traits, they should not come at the cost of personal well-being. Some individuals will see an overly kind person as someone they can exploit, using their kindness as a way to gain favors, demand time, or even manipulate situations to their advantage. When kindness is automatic rather than intentional, it loses its true value. Genuine kindness is a conscious decision to offer warmth, help, or support to someone who truly needs or appreciates it, rather than a forced response to every situation. Another aspect of intentional kindness is recognizing when to step back and when to give. Not every situation requires kindness, especially if it comes at the cost of personal boundaries or self-respect. It is important to evaluate whether kindness in a particular moment is beneficial or if it will enable bad behavior. If someone consistently takes advantage of kindness without showing gratitude or respect, then continuing to be kind is no longer a positive trait. It becomes self-sacrifice at the expense of personal dignity. Kindness should never make a person feel drained, used, or unappreciated. It should be something that brings fulfillment, not something that becomes an obligation out of fear of disappointing others. Intentional kindness also means understanding that kindness does not always have to be soft or passive. Sometimes true kindness involves honesty, setting boundaries, or even saying no. It is not unkind to refuse to do something that overextends your energy or compromises your principles. It is not unkind to walk away from relationships where kindness is only one-sided. In fact, the ability to be firm while still being kind is one of the greatest strengths a person can develop. True kindness does not mean always giving in, but rather knowing when to give and when to withhold in order to protect one's own well-being. Choosing to be kind intentionally does not mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means being wise about where kindness is placed. It means recognizing that kindness should be meaningful rather than habitual. When kindness is given with intention, it strengthens relationships rather than weakening them. People begin to appreciate kindness more when they see that it is genuine rather than automatic. Those who receive intentional kindness understand that it is given freely rather than out of obligation, which makes it more impactful and meaningful. At its core, intentional kindness is about balance. It allows kindness to remain a positive force rather than a burden. It prevents kindness from being misused and ensures that it is given in ways that truly make a difference. Instead of kindness being a never-ending expectation, it becomes a conscious and valuable action that enriches both the giver and the receiver. Kindness is a beautiful quality, but it is not something that should be handed out without thought or limits. Many people grow up believing that they must be kind to everyone, no matter what. Yet reality proves that not all individuals are worthy of kindness. Some people will see kindness as a weakness and take advantage of it, using it as a tool to manipulate, exploit, or drain others. While kindness can build meaningful connections, when given to the wrong people, it can lead to disappointment, frustration, and even emotional harm. Recognizing that not everyone deserves your kindness is not about being rude or heartless. It is about understanding the value of kindness and ensuring that it is directed toward those who appreciate and respect it. There are individuals who thrive on taking advantage of others' good nature, expecting kindness without ever giving anything in return. These people may act entitled, always demanding time, energy, and resources without any sense of gratitude or reciprocity. The more kindness they receive, the more they expect, and before long, what was once a generous act becomes an unspoken obligation. The problem is that when kindness is continuously given to those who do not deserve it, it becomes exhausting and unfulfilling. It turns into something that drains rather than uplifts, creating a cycle where the giver feels used and the receiver feels entitled. Some individuals use kindness as an opportunity to manipulate situations to their advantage. They recognize that a kind person is more likely to forgive, overlook faults, or tolerate mistreatment, and they exploit this by pushing boundaries without facing consequences. Whether in friendships, workplaces, or personal relationships, there are those who will take and take, knowing that the other person is too kind to say no. This is why it is crucial to recognize when kindness is being met with appreciation versus when it is being used as a means to control or take advantage. Protecting kindness means understanding that not everyone deserves access to your time, energy, and emotion. Some people will never respect the kindness they receive, and no matter how much they are given, they will always expect more. They will make excuses, play the victim, or manipulate situations to keep kindness flowing in their direction without ever giving back. Being kind to these individuals does not change them. It only enables their behavior. Instead of helping, it allows them to continue their cycle of taking without accountability. Setting limits on kindness is not about becoming cold or uncaring. It is about recognizing who truly deserves it. Genuine kindness should be reserved for those who appreciate it, for those who reciprocate kindness in their own way, and for those who do not see it as something they are entitled to. Being selective with kindness does not make a person selfish. It makes them wise. It ensures that kindness remains a meaningful and valuable trait rather than something that is taken for granted or misused. When kindness is given to the right people, it strengthens connections, builds trust, and creates positive interactions. It leads to relationships that are based on mutual respect rather than one-sided expectations. True kindness is about balance, about knowing when to give and when to withhold, when to be generous and when to step back. The moment kindness becomes an expectation rather than a choice, it loses its true meaning. Understanding that not everyone deserves kindness allows it to remain a gift rather than an obligation, ensuring that it is shared with those who will cherish and respect it rather than those who will abuse and exploit it. Boundaries are essential in every aspect of life, especially when it comes to kindness. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear being seen as rude, selfish, or unkind. But the truth is that without boundaries, kindness can quickly turn into exhaustion. Being kind does not mean always saying yes, always being available, or always putting others before yourself. It means offering kindness in a way that is healthy and sustainable rather than allowing it to become an expectation that others take advantage of. When there are no boundaries, kindness stops being a choice and starts feeling like an obligation, which can lead to resentment, burnout, and a loss of self-respect. One of the biggest misconceptions about kindness is that it requires always putting others' needs before your own. While generosity and selflessness are valuable, they should not come at the cost of personal well-being. People who do not set boundaries often find themselves overcommitted, constantly giving their time, energy, and attention to others while neglecting their own needs. They say yes to things they do not want to do, agree to favors that put them in difficult situations, and allow others to dictate how they should spend their time. The result is that they feel drained, used, and unappreciated. Yet they continue to give because they believe that kindness means never saying no. Without boundaries, some individuals will take advantage of kindness without a second thought. There will always be people who push limits, expecting more and more without giving anything in return. They will guilt trip, manipulate, or pressure kind-hearted people into doing things they do not want to do, knowing that they struggle to refuse. The absence of boundaries allows these behaviors to continue, making it difficult to differentiate between genuine kindness and forced compliance. When kindness is given under pressure or out of fear of disappointing others, it is no longer true kindness. It becomes an unhealthy cycle of people-pleasing that benefits everyone except the one who is constantly giving. Learning to set boundaries does not mean becoming unkind. It means being kind in a way that is fair to both yourself and others. It means recognizing that kindness should never come at the expense of self-respect. Saying no when something does not feel right is not cruel, nor is it selfish. It is an act of self-care that ensures kindness remains a positive force rather than a draining obligation. People who respect and appreciate kindness will understand when boundaries are set, while those who only seek to take advantage will push back. This is why setting boundaries is not only necessary but also revealing. It shows who truly values kindness and who only wants to use it for their own benefit. Boundaries also help maintain healthy relationships by creating a sense of mutual respect. When kindness is given without limits, relationships can become one-sided, where one person gives endlessly while the other simply takes. However, when clear boundaries are in place, it fosters a sense of balance and allows both individuals to contribute to the relationship rather than one person carrying the entire emotional or physical burden. People who respect boundaries understand that kindness is a gift rather than an expectation, and they do not demand more than what is willingly given. Setting boundaries also teaches self-worth and reinforces the idea that kindness should not come at the cost of personal happiness. It helps people recognize that they are not responsible for making everyone else comfortable at their own expense. True kindness should feel fulfilling, not exhausting. It should be something that is given freely rather than something that is forced. When people learn to set boundaries, they begin to see kindness as a conscious choice rather than an endless duty, allowing them to give in a way that is meaningful, appreciated, and sustainable. Saying no is something many people struggle with, especially those who have been taught that kindness means always being available, always helping, and always putting others before themselves. There is often a deep fear of disappointing others, being judged, or coming across as selfish, but the truth is that saying no is not unkind. In fact, it is one of the most important ways to protect personal boundaries, energy, and emotional well-being. People who never say no often find themselves overwhelmed, exhausted, and stretched too thin because they are constantly prioritizing others over themselves. While generosity is a beautiful quality, it should never come at the expense of mental or physical health. Learning to say no is not about rejecting kindness, but about ensuring that kindness is given in a way that is balanced and sustainable. One of the biggest reasons people hesitate to say no is because they feel guilty. They worry that turning someone down means they are letting them down. But in reality, always saying yes does not always lead to positive outcomes. When people take on more than they can handle, their own responsibilities suffer. They become overwhelmed with obligations that were never theirs to begin with. And instead of being genuinely helpful, they end up feeling frustrated, resentful, or even taken for granted. The guilt that comes with saying no is often misplaced, because saying yes to everything does not necessarily mean making a real difference. True kindness is about quality, not quantity, and it is impossible to give fully when constantly overextended. Another challenge people face when it comes to saying no is the pressure from others. There will always be people who push boundaries, who expect more than what is reasonable, and who use guilt or manipulation to get what they want. These individuals rely on others feeling obligated to say yes, and they often take advantage of kindness without considering how it affects the person giving it. When people learn to say no, they begin to recognize these patterns and see who truly respects them versus who only values them for what they can provide. Saying no is not just about protecting time and energy. It is also a way to filter out those who do not have good intentions. Saying no is also a powerful act of self-care. It allows people to prioritize their own needs, focus on what truly matters to them, and maintain a sense of balance in their lives. When someone constantly says yes to everyone else, they often end up saying no to themselves. No to rest, no to personal goals, no to things that bring them happiness. Learning to say no is not about rejecting others, but about choosing oneself as well. It is a reminder that self-respect and well-being are just as important as helping others. People who truly care will understand when a no is necessary, and those who do not understand will likely only benefiting from constant compliance. Another important aspect of saying no is recognizing that it does not require justification or excessive explanation. Many people feel the need to provide detailed reasons for turning something down, as if they must prove that their no is valid. However, a simple no is enough. It is okay to decline without guilt, without over-explaining, and without feeling pressure to change the answer. The right people will respect boundaries, and the wrong ones will reveal themselves when they react negatively to a reasonable refusal. By embracing the ability to say no, people begin to take control of their time, energy, and emotional health. They stop feeling like they must meet everyone else's expectations and start living in a way that aligns with their own needs and values. Saying no does not mean closing off kindness. It means ensuring that kindness is given where it is truly deserved. It is a way of maintaining balance, protecting personal well-being, and ensuring that kindness remains a conscious and meaningful choice rather than an exhausting obligation. Self-respect is the foundation of a strong and fulfilling life, yet many people compromise it in the name of kindness, approval, or avoiding conflict. While being kind to others is important, it should never come at the cost of self-worth. When people consistently put others before themselves, tolerate disrespect, or allow their boundaries to be crossed, they slowly erode their own self-respect. True kindness does not require self-sacrifice to the point of losing personal dignity. Instead, it thrives when balanced with self-respect, ensuring that kindness remains a choice rather than a duty imposed by guilt or external pressure. One of the most common ways people compromise their self-respect is by tolerating mistreatment. Many believe that responding to negativity with kindness will eventually change the other person's behavior. While kindness has the power to inspire goodness, it should not be used as a way to justify staying in toxic situations. If someone consistently disrespects, belittles, or takes advantage of kindness, continuing to be kind does not teach them to respect you. It only teaches them that their behavior has no consequences. Self-respect means recognizing when kindness is not being appreciated and having the strength to walk away from situations where it is being abused. People with strong self-respect understand that they do not need to please everyone to be valued. There will always be individuals who demand more, expect constant availability, or treat kindness as something they are entitled to rather than something to be appreciated. When someone prioritizes self-respect, they no longer feel the need to bend over backward for those who do not reciprocate kindness or respect. They learn that it is okay to say no, to set boundaries, and to remove themselves from situations that do not align with their self-worth. Another important aspect of self-respect is understanding that it is not selfish to prioritize personal well-being. Many people are conditioned to believe that putting themselves first is wrong, but the reality is that self-respect allows a person to show up as their best self for others. A person who constantly gives without considering their own needs will eventually feel drained, unappreciated, and resentful. True kindness comes from a place of strength, not exhaustion, and maintaining self-respect ensures that kindness remains genuine rather than forced. Self-respect also means valuing one's own time, energy, and emotional health. People who lack self-respect often feel obligated to accommodate others, even at their own expense. They say yes when they want to say no, tolerate situations that make them uncomfortable, and prioritize other people's needs over their own. However, when self-respect is present, they begin to recognize that their time and energy are just as valuable as anyone else's. They no longer feel guilty for choosing themselves and understand that taking care of their own needs is not an act of selfishness, but a necessity for a balanced and fulfilling life. Another key aspect of self-respect is refusing to settle for less than what is deserved. Whether in friendships, relationships, or professional settings, people with self-respect know their worth and do not accept treatment that undermines it. They understand that they do not have to stay in spaces where they are not valued, nor do they have to prove their worth to those who fail to see it. They surround themselves with people who uplift, respect, and appreciate them, rather than those who drain, belittle, or take them for granted. By prioritizing self-respect, people create a life where kindness is given from a place of strength. Relationships are based on mutual appreciation, and personal happiness is not sacrificed for the sake of pleasing others. Self-respect is not about rejecting kindness. It is about ensuring that kindness is given in a way that honors personal worth. It is a reminder that being good to others should never mean being unkind to oneself, and that true kindness flourishes when it is rooted in a strong sense of self-worth. Kindness is a powerful and beautiful trait, but it is most meaningful when directed toward the right people. Many individuals believe that kindness should be given to everyone without question, yet experience shows that not everyone values or deserves it. While kindness has the ability to strengthen relationships, uplift others, and create positive environments, when given to the wrong people, it can lead to disappointment, exhaustion, and even harm. Being selective about who receives kindness does not mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means ensuring that kindness is given in a way that is respected, appreciated, and reciprocated. One of the most important reasons to be mindful of where kindness is placed is because some people will take advantage of it. There are individuals who see kindness as something to exploit rather than something to appreciate. They will gladly take without giving in return, expecting endless generosity while offering nothing but entitlement. The more kindness they receive, the more they demand, and before long, the person giving kindness is left feeling drained, unappreciated, and taken for granted. When kindness is given to those who do not respect it, it loses its true value and becomes something that is expected rather than cherished. Being kind to the right people means recognizing who genuinely values kindness and who simply benefits from it. True kindness should be directed toward those who appreciate it, those who reciprocate it in their own way, and those who do not see it as something they are entitled to. These are the people who do not just take but also give, creating relationships built on mutual respect rather than one-sided expectations. When kindness is shared between individuals who truly care about each other, it becomes a source of strength and positivity rather than a burden. Another important aspect of giving kindness to the right people is understanding that kindness does not mean tolerating disrespect. Some individuals believe that being kind requires overlooking mistreatment, staying silent in the face of unfairness, or continuing to give to those who do not deserve it. However, true kindness should never come at the expense of self-respect. When someone repeatedly disrespects, manipulates, or takes advantage of kindness, the most self-respecting and powerful response is to withdraw that kindness. Continuing to give kindness to someone who mistreats others does not change them. It only enables their behavior. Giving kindness to the right people also means recognizing that kindness is not the same as people-pleasing. Many people struggle with setting limits because they fear disappointing others. But true kindness is never about sacrificing personal well-being to make others happy. It is about offering kindness in a way that is genuine rather than forced. People who truly value kindness will understand and respect when someone sets boundaries, while those who only seek to take will react negatively when they are no longer given unlimited access to someone's kindness. This is why being mindful of where kindness is given is so important. It reveals who truly values it and who only wants to benefit from it. When kindness is directed toward the right people, it becomes a source of fulfillment rather than exhaustion. It strengthens relationships, creates trust, and fosters an environment of mutual respect and appreciation. It allows kindness to remain a positive and uplifting trait rather than something that is taken for granted or misused. Choosing to be kind to the right people is not about limiting kindness, but about protecting its value. It ensures that kindness is given in ways that truly make a difference, benefiting both the giver and the receiver. Instead of kindness being drained on those who do not appreciate it, it is shared with those who will respect, cherish, and reciprocate it, making it a meaningful and rewarding part of life.